Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm taking a look at a great Sunday football matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Denver Broncos. Lamar Jackson versus Teddy Bridgewater. This is going to be a great game in my opinion. One of the better games at least coming this Sunday. I'm going to go into the matchup, the breakdown, the projections, the predictions, everything you want and need to know. But before I give my take, I got to hear your guys. Comment down below who you think is going to win this game, and what your score prediction is. Is it a blowout, a shootout, one-score game, whatever it is? Comment down below. Like I said, though, getting straight into it, breaking it down. Let's start with the quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson versus Teddy Bridgewater. If you look at just these numbers through the air, Teddy's looking clean. 827 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Lamar 761 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. There's a lot more statistics that aren't being shown now. Yards after catch, yards per attempt, completion percentage, everything, pressures, everything you need to evaluate a quarterback. From the small sample size, Teddy has been clean in the pocket, and that is a good, very good bonus for the Broncos this year. Lamar Jackson, the other thing that's not shown on here is how lethal he is on the ground. I think he's I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but one of the top rushers in the league right now, in rushing yards. I think he's right up there with the top running back. So obviously that statistic isn't up there for us to see. And as good as Teddy is playing, are we really going to say he's better than Lamar Jackson, former MVP? Probably not. Can he go toe-to-toe with Lamar? Sure. Can he have a better game than Lamar? Sure. Anything is possible, but all around, we know Lamar's a better quarterback. Looking at the backfield as far as run game goes, I'm not the highest on Melvin Gordon. I mean, I like him. I'm just saying, I just don't think he's a top 10 back. But I like him. I like Javonte Williams. And I love Le'Veon Bell. He's one of my more favorite players. But he's not even really playing. Tyson Williams, I like what he's doing for a fourth string. He's doing pretty good. But Broncos win this one. Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, they have the better backfield, Denver. Offensive line, kind of a pick your poison. Garrett Bowles. Actually, if you think about it, Juwan James is now going against his former team. Won't be playing, of course. But still, kind of a small tension span right there, small rivalry. Not at all, really, but for him specifically. Alejandro Villanueva, Kevin Zeitler, Ronnie Stanley. You could argue the Ravens are better, but it's kind of pick your poison thing. I don't look too much in the O-lines. I think they both got their pros and cons, if you ask me. Receiving room, this is a tough one. If they were healthy, this is the Broncos easy. Easy. Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler. But they don't have Jerry Jeudy. They don't have KJ Hamler. And same thing with the Ravens. Sammy Watkins, Mark Andrews, and Butterfingers, Hollywood Brown. They don't have Rashad Bateman. This is almost another pick your poison, in my opinion. Who's better, Cortland Sutton versus Sammy? I would take Cortland. Tim Patrick versus Hollywood. I like Patrick. That's kind of a toss-up. And then Mark Andrews versus Noah Fant. I like Noah Fant, but Mark Andrews is better. This is another iffy one. To me, it's just who has a better day. Again, healthy. Broncos would win this, but they're not, so you have to consider it. It's tough for me. Another one you just got to lean both ways. Defense. Love the Ravens' defense, but it's hurt. No Marcus Peters, and there's still talent around it. Justin Houston, O'Dafee Way, spanning out Marlon Humphrey. But the Broncos, they have one of, if not the best defense in the league. One of. I would label it. I don't think we have a defined number one defense as of right now, if you ask me. But adding Kyle Fuller, adding Patrick Surtain, Ronald Darby's not playing, but him, Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, Bryce Callahan, Von Miller's back. Broncos are looking good, and they are the reason they're 3-0. Of course, their competition is a factor of who they played, but the Broncos have been doing things right. I see Von Miller has 4 sacks in the year. Patrick Queen is leading the Ravens in tackles. He was a player I forgot to mention. This is going to be a tight game. Very, I don't want to say defensive matchup, but if these teams were healthy, I think this would be a defensive matchup because the Broncos have such a good one, and if Marcus Peters was behind Marlon Humphrey to back him up, this would possibly be the 2 best secondaries in the league going at each other. But with the Ravens suffering some injuries in their secondary, I can't really say that. If you look at the odds of this game, see who we got. Broncos only favored by 1 point, 48-52. You're not going to find a closer percentage than that. You'll see a 55, a 45, but you're not going to get it down to a 50-50. This is the closest you're going to get, and that's how close the game is for me. It's in Denver, which is another factor. Head coach, I like Vic Fangio, but John Harbaugh, got to go with him. Personally, I'm leaning toward the Broncos, and I'll tell you why. The reason being is the fact that the Ravens, each and every game, have played to their level of competition. You can't really say based on what we've seen, and I know it's a small sample size, and I know this is theorizing, but based on what we've seen, you can't really say, oh, the Ravens are going to go in here and blow them out of the water. No matter who they play, the Ravens played down or up to the competition. They went neck and neck with the Raiders, two pretty evenly matched teams, in my opinion. That's the reason being they went to overtime. They played all the way up to the level of the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty, and they played all the way down to Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. They've been up, down, in the middle, on level. And Broncos, whether you have them above the Baltimore Ravens or below them, I think the Ravens are going to play to their level. You can see that as a pro or a con, an advantage or a disadvantage. Just depends how you want to look at it. But therefore, for that reason, I think I have Denver edging this one out just because we saw the receivers struggle last week, more specifically Hollywood Brown. Everyone has their drops, so it's not the biggest deal. But just it struggled last week versus a weak Detroit Lions team, and the Broncos defense is 10 times better than that. And then when you got efficient Teddy on the other side with Javonte Williams up and coming, still Cortland Sutton, still Noah Fant, Tim Patrick. These injuries are hurting them, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, but they'll be fine. I got the Broncos barely edging them out, and I do think it'll be a 1, 2, 3, 4-point score difference. Now, if Baltimore comes out on top, I won't be surprised because theoretically, we haven't seen Denver play a team as good as Baltimore or even close. Not to say Baltimore is an elite top 2 team or top 3 team or top 5 team in the league, but we know they're definitely in the upper half of teams, no doubt. And Denver hasn't even played anyone close to that. So they could technically be frauds and not be a 3-0 team by any means or worthy of it. We'll just have to see, but this is a big test for both teams. Can Baltimore stop playing to the level of competition? Can they surpass the Broncos? Can their quarterback favor allow them to reach that next level? And then for the Broncos, can they show they can beat legit teams, not just absolutely terrible teams? This is a test for both teams, win or loss. I think it'll be a tough game and a tight game and something to learn from and take away from both teams. Personally, against a somewhat banged up Ravens team, and the Broncos are banged up themselves, but just being at home and having the momentum, I think the Broncos edge this one out barely in a very tight game, somewhat low scoring. My final score prediction is 23-20 Broncos. I don't know how low or high you consider that game to be, but that is my prediction. I'd say that's mid-scoring. But Teddy gets it done. He's shown why he's a starter, and their defense continues to steamroll through guys that just can't keep up with them. You guys tell me what you think. Comment down below your score prediction. Like I said, do you think it'll be a blowout, a shootout, a one-score game? Let me know what you got for Teddy B versus Lamar Jackson. I'm super excited. You can see the timer there. It's going to be different from when you guys are watching. But I'm curious to see the pass rush for both teams. Can they get to each other? And the secondary, can they limit each other? And then again, if Teddy and the Broncos are down, if the Ravens got out to an early lead like they are hoping to, can Teddy climb back from a deficit or from being behind? I'm not sure. Lamar always gets critiqued for that. I think he's kind of proven he's able to do that. Chiefs, for example, playoffs last year versus the Titans, for example. But Teddy Bridgewater, I need to see if he can play from behind, and this is a perfect game for him to possibly do so. But we'll have to see. As always, and of course, guys, I truly appreciate it. Thank you for watching. 2-1.